The next drawing we're going to do is the spacer design. It's on page 127. That's chapter 1, page 27 of your book. This is the drawing right here. And what we're going to do is you're going to actually see us bring in the concept of arcs. So I'm going to start here by simply drawing in this 6-inch, the top and the bottom lines. The 6-inch line on the bottom, and then this line on the top. So let's go ahead and start our drawing. I simply choose line, pick a starting point, draw a vertical line of length 6, right there. I'm going to go ahead and center this, make it a little bit bigger. Now if we come back to our drawing, we'll see that if this has a radius of 1.5, that means we're 1.5 to the center, so we must be 3 inches from this point up to that point. So that means this line will start 3 inches higher. Going to go over 2 inches, drop down by 0.5, over 2, up by 0.5, and over 2 again. So let's go ahead and draw that line. Now, there's two things we can do. One, we can do a snap. So I can create the line, or choose line, snap from, click on the end point, and then type at 0, 3, and that will start the line up here 3 inches above. Let me show you something else we can do though. And again, I have the same settings I had for the last drawing. So my polar snap is on, but my angles are just set for 90, 180, 270, and 360. My object snap tracking is on, and then my snap to 2D reference point is also on. So anyway, with those settings, the other thing you can do is start with a line, come down here. Once you get your tracking, once you see this tracking line, come down here, pull up. I haven't hit a mouse button. It's very important. I haven't hit a mouse button. So I'm doing a virtual track from that point. So once I move up, start moving up in that direction, I can simply type 3, and I'll move up by 3, and it will start the line up here. So that's a way to do really a snap without having to choose snap from. So once I'm here, I can move over over by 2, down by 0.5, over by 2, up by 0.5, over by 2, and just to make sure that I got it right, I should intersect that point. I'm not going to draw that line though. Okay, so now I have to put a circle diameter 1.25 right here. Now we already said this is 3 inches up, so this has to be 1.5 inches up. So we're going to have two circles of diameter 1.25, 1.5 inches up from that end point. So one will be here, or 1.5 inches up from this end point and from that end point. So if you remember, this circle does a radius. You see when you look here, we just see the radius. And this circle, if it's left set up from the last drawing, it should be set up for diameter. You'll see the line all the way across. If not, just make sure you choose center diameter. And then you can choose this circle, come down here and use that same virtual snap. Once you get this, start moving in that direction. Type 1.5 to move up by 1.5. Again, I haven't hit a mouse button yet. I hit enter. That puts the circle in. Then this is, I'm doing a diameter, so now I type 1.25, and that draws a circle. And I can do the same thing on the other side. Choose this circle, start here, I move up, type 1.5, enter, and then type 1.25, enter. And now I have both circles drawn. So the next thing we're going to do is put the arcs in. So like circle, arc has a lot of different ways to choose it. And in choosing arcs, I'm always choosing from here because this lets you pick every single arc. So you can do a 3-point arc, you can do a start, a center, and an end. You can do a start, a center, and an angle. Start, a center, and a length. Start, end, and an angle. Start, end, and a direction. Start, end, and a radius. A center, a start, and an end. So center, start, and end, and start, center, end is just a different order in how you choose them. And that's generally true on the second set. So we're going to choose start, center, and end. I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to start up here. My center is the center of the circle. And then my end is going to be down here. Now, one thing I want to point out, you see how the circle actually is in the right direction. In some cases, it's not. In some cases, remember, we could see a circle in the opposite direction. You could see a circle going this way, right? And I think when I go to the other side, I think that's what you'll see. And I'll show you how to correct that. Anyway, I need to make sure I'm right at that end point. I hit my return, and that completes it. And I do the same thing on the other side. I'm already set for start, center, end. So I come up here, I do start, I do center, I do end, and look at that, my circle's in the wrong direction. Well, that's not very fun, is it? How do I fix that? Well, what I have to do is I have to start over again. So I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to hit my arc. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the tab key before I start. So I hit the tab key, and then I hit this circle. I hit the end, or the start. Then I hit the center. Let's see. Okay. Center. Oh, sorry, it's not tab, it's control. It has the you can see the message right there. See, it says specify endpoint of arc, hold control key to switch directions. And you don't have to hit the key until it's actually drawing. So it's not the tab key, it's the control key. So if you need to, let's go back and start that over again. Arc. Start. Center. Now if you don't see that center, hover on the outside edge of the circle. Then the center will show up. Then you can click on the center, and when it's in the wrong direction, hit the control key, and that'll bring it in the right direction. And then again, come down and make sure you get this little green box to end it. And lo and behold, our drawing is done. Our drawing is done except for those center marks, right? Let's take a look. Yeah, so we don't have the center marks yet. And we also have the center line. So let's go ahead and at this point, I'm going to have you create a layer. Let's put in center layers. So from now on, we're going to actually use actual center layers. So I want you to click right here, and you saw a little bit of this in the last drawing as it, actually you didn't, excuse me. That was a video that will not make it to my students. But I think one of the drawings you saw there were a bunch of different layers set up. If I click here on the layer manager, layer properties manager, alternatively I could click up here. It will open up my layer dialog box. And what I want to do is I want to add a layer. Now, these are very, very difficult to see. And to be honest with you, I've never been able to even figure out what that is. I presume it's a plus sign, but I call it a sun because it's yellow. But if you click on this very first box, it will add a layer. And then when you add the layer, we want to name the layer. So we're going to call this layer center. If you don't have the ability to type it in, double click on it. So if it looks like this, you can come up here and double click, or you can come up here, click, and then sometimes click and edit. We'll do it. But anyway, you want to click in this area until you're able to edit it. Edit it and type center. Now if you click so that you get the check mark, then you've actually selected that layer. And that's okay too for now because we are going to choose that layer. But we'll go over that in a second as well. Come over here to the color and let's change the color. We're going to make the color green. Click OK. And then we want to change the line type. So when we click on line type, we're shown this continuous line. We want to click load. And as we go through here, we see a whole bunch of lines. We see these AutoCAD ISO lines. ISO stands for International Standards Organization. So there's a whole bunch of standard lines. And then there's a bunch of sort of other defined lines. Borders. Come down, you actually see center. And the center is long dash, small dash. And then center 2. Oftentimes we use center 2 for smaller drawings. So in this case, let's choose center 2 and click OK. And then once we have the two lines here, we have to actually select center 2 and then click OK. So when you look over here, we should see for layer 0, color white, line type continuous. For layer center, color green, line type center 2. So once that's done, we can click here. Now the way we switch between our two different lines is through layer control here. So if I want to be on layer 0, I can choose layer 0. If I want to be on the center layer, I can choose the center layer. So I'm going to choose the center layer, and then I'm going to go ahead and put my center marks. I'm going to put my first center mark. And if you take a look, we put in a small center mark, but when we look here, we see we have a very large center mark. So we don't like that. We want to change that. So what do we have to do? So we have to come back here, and if you remember from the last drawing, we have to go into our format, dimension style, click on modify, and then change our center mark to a line. Then we click OK. And we can close this. Click here for our center mark. And then let's click on this circle. And take a look, we're not there yet, right? Because here we did a center mark that only comes out to this first circle. But if we look at the drawing, we want center marks that come all the way out to the outer circle. Well, it turns out, let's come back here and type undo. Remember, we can click a circle or an arc. So we don't have to click this circle. We can come out and click this arc. And we click this arc, we get our large center mark. And then when we do it again over here and click this arc, we get our large center mark. So right now, the only thing we're missing is a line over here between those two. And we can do one of two things. One is we could come over here and we could extend this line out to here or something. And then come over here and extend this line. Like that. Or we could just come over here and start a new line. Just draw a line from here to there. That completes this drawing. Again, no dimensions yet. So for all future drawings, you should be using colored center marks. Again, make sure you save your drawing. You don't want to lose it. So I've already set this up, and I'm going to confirm. I've already set this up as spacer design, so I can just file and save. And I'm going to end the video at this point.